Hello, everybody. It is time to answer the big question. Is Overwatch 2 a better game than Overwatch 1? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the channel. I'm Stylosa, and the answer to this is yes, it is a better game. However, and it is a big however, was this worth a 3-year wait? Well, all right then. So this is my thoughts, and I've played the alpha for over 20 hours. Probably over 30 hours. I've played loads and loads of the alpha. Obviously, I've played tons of Overwatch, so I think I'm in a good position to compare and contrast Overwatch 2 and Overwatch 1. So let's begin with the pros. I feel it's a much more fun game to play. It feels fresh. And this might be because it's like the shiny new thing, and yeah, it could be. Because Overwatch hasn't been updated for years and years and years with anything meaningful. Yes, it gets skins, it gets rehashed events, but there's no major balance changes that really come into play. No new heroes, you know, all of that stuff. So it feels fun. I'm playing with Sojourn. It's 5v5. We're on new maps, new game modes. You kind of get overloaded. It feels fun. And I think this is a fair point to make because you guys will also like this game when you start playing it. You will go, oh my god, it's new. There's new stuff. Whether we'll like it a few weeks down the line, I don't know. I can't really answer that. But yes, it does feel more fun to play right now. If they keep updating the game fast, then yeah, they can keep that feeling going. It'll keep feeling fresh. It'll keep feeling good, and we'll always be happy. So yeah, it does feel more fun. There are less barriers in this game. Now, this is something that's been a problem in Overwatch for years and years and years. Double barrier meta has been terrible. It's just boring to shoot barriers. There's a very famous clip of Shroud where he's playing Overwatch and he's just shooting at barriers. Dr. Disrespect, another gamer that plays a lot of FPS games, they come over to try Overwatch and they're just shooting barriers. They don't understand what's going on. They don't want to play this. It's boring. They're getting no feedback and they leave the game. Now, they're just two extreme examples, but there's going to be tons of players that were exactly the same. And I don't understand why it's took Blizzard this long to remove them out of the game. Now, this could be a complaint that I could apply to a lot of the changes in Overwatch 2. Because these are changes Blizzard have been working on for years. These are changes we should have got in the live game. This goes back to the whole thing of, was it worth a 3-year wait? No, it's not worth a 3-year wait, really, if I'm totally honest. Because this is content we should already have got. We should be right now at a point with all of this content out in the game, and we're just waiting for PvE. Or we're waiting for new heroes, or whatever's going to happen with the game. That's the situation we should be in. But at least we're starting to get updates now. Anyway, going back to barriers, it is more fun because you're not firing at barriers. This gives DPS the chance to shoot at enemy players. This is good because you actually... And it gives tanks the chance to go for 1v1s more often. It gives supports like Anna, or well, just any support, less worry of, oh my god, there's a barrier in the way, I can't heal. It is so much better. And also, it's easier to kind of see what's going on with less crazy barriers all over the screen. Now, there is only the reduction of one barrier. I've got to be very clear here. It's only Orisa that now does not have a barrier. She's now got a spinning spear, which acts like defense matrix, and she throws spears, and she's just way more fun to play. But there's one less tank. So each team now only has one tank. This is huge because it means you literally cannot get double barrier. It just doesn't exist in the game anymore. So it's good. Good job, Blizz. It's easier to see what's going on in this game. This also, as well, helps Overwatch League in some ways, because if you're not a player of Overwatch, you don't generally understand what the hell is going on the screen. Now, though, it's clearer. The new, or should I say, the upgraded graphics engine makes things look clearer. Abilities look clearer. Things like Trend. Who the hell is Trend? Zen's Transcendence, that's what I was looking for. That looks clearer. When Genji deflects, that looks clearer. All the abilities just look clearer when they get used. And, of course, there's one less player. So, well, there's one less mad, like, graphical, mental effects all going off all over the place because there's just one less player per team. So I guess 2 less players is what I should say, really. It's just easy to see what's going on, which is good. Now, this is a big one. There is way more chance to pop off in this game. There is a lot more chance for individual plays. This is not Overwatch 1. Now, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a massive jerk, but you can't hide in Overwatch 2. You can't be, you know what, I'm just going to be an off tank and just kind of chill, or I'm just going to be a DPS and just sort of, I'm going to do the bare minimum. I'm going to do damage, but I'm not going to really make any crazy plays. I'm not going to go for 1v1s. I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to try and play it safe. Or I'm going to be a support and I'm just going to kind of try and hide. You know, I'm just going to let the other support take the slack. You can't do that anymore. A lot of the new maps have got tons of flanks, and I mean tons of flanks. It is quite shocking when you first see them. This means heroes like Tracer, like Genji, and remember there's less crowd, well, there's just hardly any crowd control in the game now. So Tracer and Genji are really strong. Even a soldier just sprinting into your back line through a flank suddenly starts attacking the back line. It's like, oh my god, what the hell? We've got to deal with this. It means that supports need to be able to react. It means supports need to be able to play together because there's no off tank. There is no tank to peel. The days of like, I've got a Reinhardt and a D.Va, and D.Va's going to peel for the back line to keep me alive because Tracer's harassing me are gone. Because there is no off tank. And if your tank is peeling for your back line, then what's going on the front line? Because there's no tank. So it means that supports really have to be on their ball. Because if they're not, they're going to get killed. And it also means that DPS need to win these 1v1s. Because if they don't, then, well, they're going to die. And then also just DPS having 1v1s. But even it's not just about flanking DPS. It's about tanks. Tank 1v1s now are crucial because there's no backup. If you die, that's it. Your team's entire front line is gone. You cannot die. You need to be very clever, work out what's going on. So it does give more chance or more opportunity to pop off, which is a good thing for Overwatch. And also, this does go back into Overwatch League. It will make Overwatch League more watchable because I think everyone's going to love seeing Sojourn get loads of railgun kills, or maybe an Orisa outplay the enemy Roadhog or something like that, or a Brig go on a killing spree because now Brig does damage. She doesn't have a stun. There's all of these things. So it does actually, I think, make the game better overall because of that. It's a faster game. Now, I've touched on this as well. I don't want to really say too much about this, but it's just faster. DPS have got a 10% movement buff, so they just run faster. Literally, they are physically faster. So, yeah. And this is another big one. So, ultimates charge slower for almost all the heroes, but you generate less ultimate charge when you attack a tank because this is the new tank passive, and all of the tank heroes have got this. And this gives you more chance to make plays in between ultimates getting used. And now this is huge. There's been a lot of times in Overwatch's history where you're just waiting for ultimates. You're waiting for the I win button. We all probably remember the Nano Blade meta, for example. Genji, have you got Blade? Yep. I mean, I played loads of Ana during this phase, and all it would be is waiting for my Genji to get his Blade, which is charging up through doing range damage with his primary fire most of the time. As soon as he's got Blade, he jumps up into the sky. I nano him. He goes into the back line. We win the fight. And we wait again. Well, we win the fight if Zen has used Transcendence before Genji blades them. So that's kind of it. And we're just sort of going from ultimate to ultimate to ultimate. The in-between doesn't matter. But the in-between is the best part about Overwatch, right? And that's what Overwatch 2 really does nail. Through reducing all the ultimate charge. You know, and this is something Blizzard have been doing for a while with Overwatch. They've been reducing ultimate charge steadily. It puts more emphasis on the moment-to-moment gameplay, which is way better. It means you can have tactical engagements that are not built around ultimates. It means you can suddenly pop off before ultimates are available. It means you don't get loads of ultimates every game. You maybe only get a couple per match now, whereas before you might get loads more. So it is better for the game overall. This one is a pro or a con. I mean, it's a pro in the sense of you get more information and it makes the game easier to play, but it's a con in which it just looks worse, if you ask me. So the UI is very bland. Now, the UI is under development. So it won't be the UI that you guys are seeing in this footage. In fact, we were told by Blizzard not to show things like the menu system off, or even not to press tab as often as we would to bring up the score screen because of various bugs and whatnot. But it is safe to say that this UI is a lot more bland. It's very square. It's very simple. It's not as flashy. It's not as nice as the old Overwatch UI, but it gives you more information. So technically, it's better. It's like, I don't know, it's very hard to explain it. It's like a cool old sports car looks really cool, right? But a new modern one might not look as cool, but it's way faster. It's way better. It's got better handling. It's kind of like that. That's what it feels like to me. So I kind of want the old one back, if I'm honest. But I like what the new one gives me. Oh, ping system, this is great. Now, when I play live Overwatch, which doesn't have a ping system, and I don't know, again, why this wasn't added to the game. In fact, I'm just going to stop saying that in this video, because all of these changes should be in Overwatch. That's it. That's the end of it. They should be, and it's a travesty that they're not, and yeah. But at least we're starting to get them now, so hey. But yeah, the ping system, I find myself using this, or trying to use it on live, where it's just not there. I think that pretty much says that this is a good feature, because I'm using it all the time. Now, the best thing about this is it lets you communicate if you don't want to use a microphone. I live in Europe. It's there's a lot of languages in Europe. Right? It's not like North America where everyone speaks English. Oh, no, no, no. There's a lot of different languages. It's hard to understand what people say. People find it hard to understand me. There's loads of problems. So being able to ping is super cool because it's like, oh, well, I can ping there's a tracer behind, which is super, super strong, especially if you're playing on some of the new maps, because there will be a tracer behind. There will be a Genji. There will be a soldier. There will be a Sojourn. Just, it'll be, yeah, you're going to need to ping, right? It's really, really good. Now, there is a little kind of debate going on whether this is a broken system and whether you should be pinging absolutely everything all of the time, because that's the optimal way to do it. And, okay, maybe, yeah, but we'll worry about that in a few weeks' time. But honestly, right now, it feels really good, and it's definitely something Blizzard can fix as time goes on if they need to. Mass removal of crowd control makes heroes like Genji super viable. Also, it's less frustrating for tanks given their new role passive, which grants less ult charge to attackers and reduces knockback effects on the tanks. And, well, yeah, I just think the lack of stuns helps an absolute load, especially when it comes to tanks. Now, what they're trying to do is focus the stuns, the knockbacks, onto the tank heroes. Now, there are some heroes that lie outside of this. So Ana's obviously still got Sleep Dart, although it's on a much longer cooldown. Lucio's still got his Boop. And who else have we got here? Brig doesn't have a stun no more. She just does damage when she bashes you. Oh, yeah, Sojourn. This is the really stupid one. So if Blizzard are trying to remove stuns from DPS, because look at Cassidy, no longer has a flashbang. He throws a magnetic grenade, which I'll talk about in a second. It's actually really cool. But Sojourn has got a slow ability. So when she fires her big grenade and it creates the big field on the ground or on a wall or wherever you fired it, it slows people in it and also does damage to them. I don't know why it's got a slow. It's like Blizzard. You've said you're trying to remove these from DPS, and now you've added this to Sojourn. It makes no sense. Anyway, Cassidy's a good example. So his flashbang in the past, if you were trying to 1v1 a Tracer, Tracer would be looking for you using your flash, missing, and then she goes in on you, or she gets flashed and somehow manages to recall because you miss all of your shots. Then she comes back to take you on 1v1. Then it becomes about skill, who can land the shots. But Tracer generally would win that 1v1 without the flashbang. What Blizzard have done, have given Cassidy a magnetic grenade, which functions just the same as the flash, really. There's still that same threat. It will still attach to Tracer, it will still blow up on Tracer, and it will cause a considerable damage, meaning you only need to land one more shot on her, and you will kill her. But if she rewinds, she'll get rid of it. So they've kept the interaction the same. It's actually really cool what they've done with Cassidy, I think. But yeah, just having less stuns is so much better for the game. We've all seen the clips of Reinhardt's just being stunned and everything over and over again. It's crap. You don't get to play the game. It's the worst feeling ever. Now, though, well, there's less stuns, so you don't really get stunned as much. And if you're a tank, you don't really get knocked back because you've got a massive resistance to knockback. It's really cool. It's much, much better. Moral of the story is here. Players like to, play. Yeah, they don't like to just stand there because someone's pressed a button and now they die. That feels terrible. Okay, let's move on to the cons because, yes, we do need to talk about the cons. Now, you probably have realized through me going through the pros section, it's a bit hazy. It's not like it's like, oh, yeah, these are huge pros for the game and they're awesome. Some of them are, but some of them are like, yeah, they might be, they might not be. Depends what your point of view is. And that's kind of the vibe with Overwatch 2. Yeah, it's better than Overwatch 1, but it's not going to blow you away. It's not like, oh my god, this is literally the best thing ever. It's just Overwatch that's been refined. It's Overwatch 2.0. Anyway, let's talk about the cons. So firstly, the game plays like one tank is disconnected on each team. So when you come from Overwatch to Overwatch 2, it is very jarring. You're like, you're telling me our only tank is Ball or our only tank is Doomfist? What? It's like, hang on a minute. Doomfist is going to be in the back line. Ball is going to be in the back line. We need a main tank. What's going on? Like, what the hell, Blizzard? It really does feel like that. And I'm not sure whether this is going to be a positive long term. I don't know. But from the games that I've played, if you had a Doomfist as your tank and your team is set up to dive and you really dive the enemy back line and you kill them, it feels great. But if you've got a Doomfist and your team isn't set up to dive and the Doomfist is going away doing Doomfist things, you feel very naked. Especially if the enemy team has got a Reinhardt or a Sigma or a Roadhog, something that's with them. It feels like, oh my god, we need a different tank. And maybe that will be the meta going forward for Overwatch, that you really do need to consider what the enemy team have got and the way you want to play together and really make your swaps based on that, which might be better for the game overall. But as I say, it feels very weird. There's just one tank. It really does feel weird. And even after all these hours I've played the alpha, it still feels weird. You're looking out for another tank. Now, of course, this is a huge con to groups of friends that would play together, and maybe you were 2 tank players together. You just can't play together no more. So that's obviously a massive con. Without a main tank, so let's use Ryan as the example, games do feel quite messy. It's a massive shock to the system seeing Hog or just D.Va as your only tank. Now, I kind of touched on this in the previous point, but yeah, this main tank syndrome, everybody's a main tank now. Off tanks are main tanks. Everyone is a main tank. All a tank is in Overwatch 2 is a very beefy DPS target, unless it's Reinhardt. Now, Reinhardt suffers, and I will sort of talk about him in a second. He's probably the weakest hero in the game, if I'm honest, right now, just because he's an old Overwatch hero, and he's built for a time that just doesn't exist anymore. He's built for Overwatch 1. Go back and look at King's Row. Look at the old Overwatch maps. They were built with chokes that Reinhardt could perfectly protect with his shield as he walked through. That's no longer a thing. Reinhardt's getting flanked. He's getting wrecked. He's getting hit by Orisa versus Ryan. It's nightmare fuel for Ryan. He's just going to die. Ryan wants to charge Orisa. Well, forget about it, because Orisa can throw a spear at him and that'll interrupt his charge. Or, hey, you know what? She can just use Fortify and it does nothing to her anyway. So it's very nightmare fuel time for Reinhardt. Oh, God. He's definitely going to feature in his own video because it's sad what's happened to Reinhardt. It really is. Anyway, yeah. It just feels weird without the main tank. Now, this moves on to the next point. It's way more deathmatchy. Now, I'm going to try and explain this because this is a pro and a con. And what I mean by deathmatchy is there is less structure in most games. Now, some games, if you're in coordinated scrims, it's kind of okay. But again, it depends on the tanks that you've got, right? And it depends on the players you've got, right? But the game just feels more messy. It feels there's less structure. It feels like we're not. The days of like frontline versus frontline are gone, because you might be all over the place. You know, it's really hard to explain. This one is. You guys can probably see it in the gameplay footage I'm using in the background of this video, but throughout it, you've probably seen me go on flanks with Tracer. You've probably seen me do things which would be considered quite bad in old Overwatch, because you're sort of, I don't know, trying to flank all the time. You're not playing with your team. This game, though, kind of encourages it. And I don't know whether this is a pro or a con. I think for some players, it's a pro, and it's a huge pro. Because if you're like the Roadhog that likes to flank, well, you can just do it in this game. Okay, you won't be with your team. Your team are probably going to be like, oh my God, we've got no tank. But it doesn't matter, because if you kill someone, that's super effective. Like, that's really, really effective. Also, like, if you're more inclined to take 1v1s, if you're more of a solo player, you'll like this more. If you're more of a team player, you might not. It's a really hard one to weigh up this. I mean, putting this in the cons, it could be in the pros, because it's just both. It's just more deathmatchy. I think for me personally, I've really enjoyed it. I mean, you've probably seen some Cassidy footage in this video as well, which is, it's weird without barrier tanks, because you can actually shoot people. So it feels good. It feels real good. But then at times, you do want that structure back. It's a hard one to explain. Okay, we should talk about supports, because if you don't have an escape or an ability that can, you know, prevent you from dying, you will get wrecked by flankers. And I mean absolutely wrecked. From what we were working out in the alpha, Moira is very strong, because Moira can react to what is going on. Anna, she's okay if she's got a grenade and she can throw it into the ground to keep herself alive while she's shouting for help. Maybe someone comes and helps her. If she's got sleep and she lands sleep, then okay, yeah, great, she'll be fine. But if she misses sleep, it's got a very long cooldown now. I think it's on 15 seconds. It's bad times for it. Whereas, well, Moira can just use Fade. It's on a shorter cooldown now. Oh, no, I'm getting attacked. I think I'll Fade. Oh, by the way, I damage and I heal myself back. Brig as well, surprisingly good. Brig is really tanky. And I think Brig finally, for the first time in the history of Overwatch, fits into her own slot that she should always have fit into. The one of, I am a tanky support, not I am a support with a ridiculous stun, so you use me to set up fights all the time. It's like, no, I'm a tanky support. And Brig might be really good in Overwatch 2 because she's protecting the other support. But I don't mean good in an overpowered way. I just mean good in the sense of, if your Tracer trying to take on a Brig, Brig can kill you. And it's hard to kill Brig. And if the other support realizes this, well, the other support can help out. So, yeah. But the fact is, supports, they do feel a lot more vulnerable. And I think there's a lot of space here for Blizzard to make changes, and they probably will. So I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if when you jump into the beta, you're like, oh my god, I'm just getting killed every game. Like, what is this? I'm trying to play Zen, and I'm just dying every game. I think Overwatch 2 pushes you more in the direction of, if you are dying over and over as Zen, if you've played Zen on Colosseo and you're getting flanked by the Tracer, you probably need to come off. You probably need to play Lucio. You probably need to play Moira or something like that. You can't just keep playing the Zen into that because you're going to lose. And you could argue that that's good. That's fine. That's how the game should be. So again, this is like a pro and a con in a way. But I did feel a lot more vulnerable as a support. I will say that. Okay, can we pour one out for the Reinhardt mains in the chat? Yeah. One thing that made me laugh was when I seen Super had retired from Overwatch. Now, I don't think this is because of the state of Reinhardt in Overwatch 2, but it's kind of funny because at the time we were playing the alpha, and Reinhardt, he suffers. He really, really suffers. But be under no illusion, I don't think Super retired because of that. I think Super retired from Overwatch League and pro play because it's absolutely... You've got to train 12 hours a day. It's too much stuff. And that guy's been there and done it. He's won every single thing he can win. And he'll go ahead now and have a great career as a streamer and a content creator. So good stuff. He's absolutely living life and he's won. It's amazing stuff. Anyway, let's talk about Reinhardt because, oh my god. Reinhardt's the same as Winston, really. They're old heroes for a game that doesn't exist now. So in Overwatch 2, speed and mobility are absolutely key. And it really feels like Ryan and Winston are older, I guess, legacy heroes, and they've been left behind. I mean, if you look at Sigma and then you look at Ryan, the difference in abilities is crazy. Now, Sigma's essentially the same, so we know how Sigma plays. He can do damage, he can shield, he can suck. He's got a good ultimate. Reinhardt can just do damage or shield. He can't do both at the same time. Also, he's got minimal range damage. Okay, he's got 2 fire strikes now, but it's not really safe for him to... Well, it's not guaranteed damage, is it? You know, with fire strike. What about if you look at new Doomfist? What about if you look at new Orisa? Well, these are heroes that can do damage. They can tank. They've got crowd control. They can do a lot of different things. They've got... Doomfist definitely got verticality in his movement set. Orisa doesn't have verticality in a movement set, but Orisa's got a long-range skill shot ability in the spear throw, which can kill people at range. And it's a lot more accurate than Fire Strike. So Reinhardt is very old. Like, very, very old. And Winston suffers from this as well, because Winston, they did buff his barrier during the alpha. So it had 800 HP when I recorded this video. It may have changed now. They may have done little balance changes in the beta. But his alternate fire is like a little charge up of his primary fire, and it fires this little, like... And it does not a lot of damage. It's basically like a ranged melee attack. That's the way to look at it. And it's there in case people get away from Winston after you've jumped on them and shocked them with the Tesla and maybe meleeed them. They try to run away. It's frustrating. They run away and it's like, oh, I could have got that kill. They've only got 10 health. Well, you can now try and get it with your new alternate fire. But it just feels crap. It feels so bad to use. And then you look at Reinhardt, and he's like swinging around with his hammer, trying to do damage. But wait, he's against the Roadhog, who will just kill him. He's against an Orisa, who will just kill him. The only benefit Reinhardt has, if the enemy team doesn't have a Reinhardt, is he gets a free shatter. But because ultimates generate so much slower now, it's not like you're going into a game and you're like, I'm going to get 5 shatters per round. That ain't going to happen. You know what I mean? You're going to get 1. And it's maybe going to win 1 fight. So it's really... Like, Reinhardt needs to be fixed. So if you're a Rein main, I am feeling for you right now because your hero has been destroyed in this game. I would put him, if I was doing a tier list, right at the bottom. It really is not viable at all. He just gets farmed, and it's really, really sad. And I'd put Winston second bottom as well, because Winston just suffers again from Doomfist is better, Wrecking Ball is better at what Winston does, so why take Winston? 3 years for this. Now, we know PvE is coming, and surely they're going to have new game modes for PvP. They've got to have more game modes. They're definitely going to have new heroes, so maybe it's not all that bad. I think it's more the combined shock of having no content and then suddenly getting the content the game should have been receiving for all these years, this year, right now, and things are hopefully going to start kicking off with content being added into the game. Let's move on to the conclusion then, because this has been quite a lengthy video, and I think I've addressed most of the points that I wanted to address. But I think basically, guys, calling the game Overwatch 2 isn't really doing it justice. These PvP changes are what you'd expect from a constantly updated Overwatch over like the last 3 years. Nothing more, really. Overwatch 2, well, that's PvE, and I think there'll be a big fuss when PvE comes out, whenever the hell that will be, and that's the start of Overwatch 2. But what we've got here with PvP and with Blizzard's recent decision to decouple PvP from Overwatch 2 is we've essentially... This is Overwatch, right? This is an Overwatch 2. And it's always going to be super confusing to me to refer to this as Overwatch 2 because it's Overwatch. The changes are, okay, hero reworks, a couple of new maps for existing game modes, a new game mode with a couple of new maps, and Sojourn, and a ping system, and a slightly updated UI, and a slightly updated graphics system. You see what I mean, guys? It's not like it doesn't blow you away, but this is a start, and I think this is what we need to be aware of. This is the beginning, I hope, of Blizzard starting to redevelop this game again, pushing forward. Who knows what happened at Blizzard? Who knows what caused all of these delays? I don't think we'll ever know what happened inside the Overwatch team, what happened with management or anything like that. But it's clear that they've been working on stuff for a number of years, but they haven't been able to launch it for a number of reasons. And now they are able to do that. It's like they're trying to catch up. It's almost like a relaunch of Overwatch. I think that's the best way to sum this up. All right, guys, thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope this video has inspired you to come back and check out Overwatch. And I hope that in a year's time, we can look back and go, wow, this was the start of something amazing. This was the start of Overwatch suddenly getting tons of content and becoming the game that it really deserves to be, because this game is so unique. There is nothing like it. And before you in the back stand up and go, oh, well, what about Team Fortress 2? No, there is nothing like this game. You go and play any other modern shooters now, nothing ever comes close to Overwatch, and it's the reason why we always come back to this game, because it's the only place we can get this Overwatch fix. All right, guys, thank you for watching the video. Remember, you can follow me on everything, which is at Stylosa. You can follow me on TikTok, which is Stylosa UL. On Instagram, it's just at Stylosa. On Twitter, do go and follow me on Twitter as well. That's just at Stylosa. Do leave a comment on the video as well. I'd love to know what you guys think about this. I will be reading the comments. And leave a like as well, because that really does help the video. And obviously, subscribe if you enjoyed it. All right, guys, thanks, and I will catch you lovely lot on the next video. Toodaloo.